You are about to witness the power of toy knowledge. Where are my figures at? Straight out of Poland, it's my homeboy Rick, classy action figure seller with a 6-inch dick, the bruiser, in his stonking collection of action figs that he sticks in his ring. 6 solicited pics for like button clicks, everything that drips out his lips is a statistic. Yeah, he's the kind of dude can tell you who threw who out of Rumble 92. Need to know a bit more? Let's check out his stories, putting figures in a box daily. And for this little rap, he didn't even pay me. So also on the show is Martin.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 7 Figs a Month podcast. My name is Marty. I am the Jersey Retro Toy Hunter and founder of Channel Islands World Wrestling. I am joined today with a familiar voice. It's Rich from 3POA podcast and the Action Figure Seller. How you doing, bud?
I'm very good. And anyone who doesn't enjoy me on 3POA, I'm very sorry. This probably isn't the place for you, right?
Yeah, you best turn off now, I think.
Soz. All good.
More Rich.
Yeah, head to actionfigureseller.com and pick up some lovely little toys. Reasonably priced. Shipped out of Poland.
Priced. Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, buy some toys.
Yeah, why are we here? We're
here today. We're going to look back on the wrestling figure lines that have been released. We're going to start with LJNs and their Series 1. So we're taking you back to 1984 when wrestling was getting super, super hot.
We were born as well, both of us.
We were born in 1984. Yeah. So we're going to be looking back at these.
Yeah, and hopefully if this goes well, every other toy line in existence. Not just wrestling.
Yes, every toy line. So we're going to do Toxic Crusaders and Street Sharks as well.
Why not? Right? Why not? Like, we got time. We're still young, right?
Well, let's start with things we know. With us both being wrestlers and us both collecting toys, we might as well start with wrestling figures.
Yeah. So we are big wrestling fans and toy enthusiasts, but we are starting at a place with a line we know nothing about. Or we've been learning, right? We're interested. Yes. We're excited.
We never owned them.
Yeah, we couldn't.
No.
They didn't exist in the small island of Jersey.
They did not. I wonder how many are actually in Jersey. It might be 0.
No.
Until I buy some.
But yeah, you need to fill Jersey with them. It's your job.
I'm holding down the fort for everybody. I need to get the numbers in.
This is the first of many pods, and we will do other stuff with other people. We do have other friends, surprisingly.
We do have other friends. We're like the Heenan family.
Yeah.
And we're the Brain Busters. You can call us the Action Figure Fellas.
How do we start? Do we start by running down Series 1, right?
Yes. So Series 1, we've come to an interesting thought about this because we couldn't work out whether it was 84 or 1985 that they were released. What did you find out about that?
Well, there's mixed information online, isn't there? There doesn't seem to be a definitive answer.
No, it's quite hard to research.
And then I did spot a back of a card which showed the first 5 figures, which appear to have been released first in 1984. And then a further 4 were added within the next year in 1985.
So I was wondering if maybe those first 5 were released in time for Christmas in 84 or something like that.
Makes sense, right?
It would do, yeah. Especially like when you hear about the Star Wars toys not being released quite in time for Christmas, so they put a voucher in. So
wow.
The kids were just getting vouchers instead of Star Wars toys. That's what Kenner did. Their ballsy approach to selling toys.
No, that makes complete sense, right?
Yeah.
And to the best of my knowledge, a ring was released around. As I say, the information you can find out about this, the definitive information is hard. But a toy ring was released around the same time. But I'm guessing that came with the later 4 figures.
Yeah, so we're looking at 84, 85 anyway. And The WWF landscape then was changing drastically from what it was previously.
Yeah, well, this is Vince Jr. Dad is now dead.
Yes,
right?
Dad is dead. 84. One day before I was born, Vince McMahon Sr. died.
There you go.
One wrestling promoter dies, another one rises.
This is Vince having a proper go of like world domination, right?
Yeah, massively. Like he's creating his own roster by this point, or starting to anyway. So over the next few years, you see a big change in who he's got available.
Because only a few years before that, a couple of years before this, it was all handshake agreements with other promoters, not stepping on anyone's toes, and all of a sudden he's doing these worldwide events, releasing a toy line to children, a cartoon. Not to jump ahead, but a cartoon
Hulk
was
Hogan's
released.
Rock and Wrestling. It's when you look at the toys, so you see like the old toys like Thundercats, He-Man, things like that. They all had a toy line and then made a cartoon to help sell the toys. And then with in the point of Master of the Universe, they did a movie as well. Whereas WWF, they already had a weekly TV show and big events to sell the toys, but then they released a cartoon on top of that as well. So they're really going for it.
Yeah, and these were hugely popular and actually physically huge.
Yes,
right?
the toys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you watch the Toys That Made Us documentary, it's a really good watch actually, like the wrestling episode as well, worth checking out. But it's got the guys who made them, and originally they went into the meeting, LJN, and they had the 2-up models.
Yeah, prototypes, right?
Yeah, the prototypes.
They were just showing the salespeople what they could look like, but they would be scaled down.
Yes, and the guy instantly saw them. He's like, oh, "I love him." And they're like, "What do you like about him?" He's like, "They're freaking huge."
So that was it.
Yeah, so that's it. The world was then given giant wrestling men to smack about.
Yeah, no, and these are great. As I say, it's sort of been a learning curve for us because we weren't overly familiar.
So going back to that point as well, the original idea was to make them 5 inches and have wire in their arms and legs, so you could pose them and move them around a bit more.
It's probably smaller than 5, right?
I think it was 5, but I could be wrong. They did actually end up releasing some that were 5 inches. Bendies. I don't know if you could pose them and keep them in the poses. Again, never seen them to hand. Never had them in hand, so never got to manipulate them or anything.
5 inches still sounds massive to me, mate.
5 inches is huge. I mean, nowadays you would just call that 8.
Yeah, so I thought we would go through them all, each character in series 1, listing them. Yep. I suppose my least favorite to favorite, and you can pipe up if you completely disagree. But I think we'll be sort of agreed.
Yeah, I think so. What should we do? Should we do like the first 5 that were released first?
Yes, 100%. Yeah,
that's the better way to do it, and we'll chat about what that person was doing maybe at the time, sort of 84, 85-ish.
Yeah,
that they deserve a toy.
Yes, yeah,
that sort of thing.
Definitely, that sounds like a solid plan. So I'm kicking things off with the worst figure in the line, the entire line, as far as I'm concerned, and it's the big hair, blue trunks, crazy skinny body Andre the Giant.
Yeah, it's the crazy skinny body that's the thing, isn't it? You put him next to Big John Studd, like looking at pictures, and Big John Studd is much bigger than Andre, which should not be the case. Like the whole point of him is he is a giant.
Yeah,
kind of says it, doesn't it? Andre the Giant, not just Andre. We got this Andre guy with his big mop,
and the John Studd is stacked as well, and this is just a weird, oddly proportioned, skinny body. So they had to do him, right?
Yeah.
They had to do him. Oh, and also worth noting, so Andre the Giant, he's sort of scaled bigger than the rest of them, but in order to fit him on the card, I guess, is what we've ascertained from it, is he's in a sort of squatting position. And that is true of all these big guys in this, at least this series, I suppose.
Hogan and Studd are both in squats as well,
yes,
aren't they? So they're a bit strange in that sense.
So, yeah. And then, Andre the Giant is arguably, you might be able to help me with even the wrestling knowledge here, but like Andre the Giant's probably the biggest star in WWF at this point.
If not number 1, then number 2. Like worldwide, he might have been at this point the bigger name.
Because Hogan's champ, right? Yeah. But this is very much the start of
Princess
Hogan's
Bride
reign.
Would have come out around this time. She had long hair when Princess Bride came out as well.
Yeah, so Andre's a superstar, so he had to be included.
Yeah.
But yeah, just such a shame it's a weak figure. And then next up.
Okay, go.
Oh no, did you have more to say about Andre?
No, I was just going to say, like, Andre the Giant at this point, it would have been running, like, he would have been main eventing shows, and then Hogan would have been main eventing a different show on the same night and things like that. The amount of shows WWF are running. So he was like top guy, but used separately to Hogan and Snooker.
Oh, this figure's absolutely worthy of being there, as we've just said, and it's a tremendous Andre. I would love
Andre the Giant character deserves to be right up here. the toy does not do him justice, I think is the thing.
No, but you would happily love like an Andre with blue pants and big hair if it just looked
Yeah.
good, right? And it's just
It looks like my brother circa 2003.
it does look like Darren. Fantastic. Ah, it's worth
Same
getting then.
squat.
So yeah, I suppose there's more to say about what Andre was doing event-wise, but I suppose we can talk about them all event-wise in terms of because there wasn't many events back here. So we're looking pretty much at WrestleMania 1, the Brawl to End It All,
Yeah.
the random 1984 MTV show was the Brawl to End It All, and that was 2 matches that were like shown to people. The rest were dark matches. Although, oh man, I don't want to go off on tangents, but Brawl to End It All is the one where Antonio Inoki won a 20-man battle royal, right?
Yes, and he was the WWF, was it martial arts
Oh,
champion?
let's. Sorry, this is the first Google of the night. But yeah, he had a crazy championship that I've never heard of.
I'm pretty sure it was the WWF Martial Arts Championship, which he held for 11 years. But it wasn't just in WWF. He had it in Japan as well. And then when WWF's working relationship with them stopped, it just disappeared.
Yeah, because so on the
From WWF TV anyway.
so this Brawl to End It All was it seems like it was their first go, Vince Jr.'s first go at sort of airing something on MTV and closed circuit, possibly.
Yes. So from what I think, it was the women's match that was on MTV because
Yes.
Wendy Richter, you had Cyndi Lauper was with her, and it's the whole big rock and wrestling MTV thing. Yeah. And on closed circuit, it was Greg Valentine Hogan that was shown.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. Surely people aren't going somewhere to watch something for one match. But
it sounds, yeah, it's a different world, right? Maybe people did drive 3 hours to a cool venue to I don't know.
Who knows what people did in the past? Because I was just born, and you might not have been born at that point.
No, I did not exist. So yeah, it's very hard remembering what took place here. Off the top of the dome, but Antonio Inoki defeated Charlie Fulton by pinfall, and that was a singles match for the WWF World Martial Arts Heavyweight Championship.
Brilliant.
That's fantastic.
They should bring it back.
Well, that's the title that Antonio Inoki's mum gave to The Rock, right? At the Hall of Fame, I presume.
Yeah, that's the belt that The Rock carries around now is Antonio Inoki's mother's championship that she gave to The Rock.
Yeah, I think that's it. So
if you ever wonder why The Rock's got a belt,
you're like, what's? I've never seen that belt before. I think it is the WWF World Martial Arts Heavyweight Championship. So that's great. And Mattel are making a Final Boss Rock figure that comes with that championship. So there you go.
It comes with a black belt as well that you can put around his waist, like to show his martial arts.
There you go. You now know the history of that championship.
Yeah, that's the history lesson for this week, folks.
So
moving on back to so if Andre was number 5, who have you got as number 4?
Controversially, I do have Superfly Jimmy Snuka in that spot. And not because he's necessarily... So Andre, out of those 5, I think Andre's the only objectively bad figure. The rest are good.
Yeah, Snooker's good as well and deserving to be there.
For sure.
He was super over. He's one of the top baby faces. And around this time, he's feuding with Rowdy Roddy Piper as well. That's when the whole coconut thing happens, sort of 84, 85, isn't it?
But I'm sure I've seen various bits on documentaries or in books that allude to Jimmy Snuka had to be sort of quietly shifted out the way in order for Hogan to prosper because he was so over.
Yeah, so it's strange when you see WrestleMania 1 and Snooker's not even in a match. He's in the corner in the main event.
And he wasn't injured or anything like that.
He wasn't injured or anything. However, a year or so before, he did kill his girlfriend. Well, was it proven? I don't know. I probably shouldn't just be saying this guy's a murderer.
There's a lot of evidence that would because just before he died, he was standing trial for it. They actually My memory's a bit shaky, but I'm pretty sure it might even be a WWE published book at the time before the trial happened, like a good few years ago. But Snooker writes in his book, I don't know if it's ghost written, I'm sure he didn't write it. But Snooker tells a story in his book that he doesn't confess to the murders or anything, but he does talk about
That's strange. You thought he would.
Yeah, right. Why not?
Brother.
But he does talk about there being a situation in which he doesn't know what happened. The police were in a room. Vince walks in with a briefcase and walks out without the briefcase, right?
It's
So
mad, isn't
implying
it?
that Vince just handed over a load of cash and the problem went away.
So do you think like around WrestleMania one time they were trying to maybe sort of put him to the background a bit, acknowledge that he is there for the fans that like him, but
Maybe,
not really showcase him?
maybe it's not this sinister plot to replace him with Hogan. Maybe it's more just that this guy's a loose cannon and he's done
There's some dodgy
one
stuff that
murder.
might be coming up.
He's done one murder that we know of. let's quieten him
Christ.
down. Let's stop. Yeah, let's get him off the posters type thing.
Before
Yeah,
he's on a
maybe.
rampage.
But that's not why he's fourth here. But hey,
That's why
it's,
he's not in WrestleMania 1 properly.
yeah. I just think
Killed
the
his
other,
wife, not in
yeah,
WrestleMania 1.
the other three coming up are huge. But yeah, no, Snooker's a great figure. I will say about Jimmy Snooker, as good a figure as it was, with him doing his big like splash from the top rope.
Yeah.
I wish it was a different pose.
What's he got? He's got double muscles up or something.
Nah, he's got like one arm up and like one arm down. I think it's just
Was
like
it in my
he's
head
got
he had both up?
I think he's got the same pose as the Iron Sheik.
Interesting.
And I wish, yeah, why is it not both arms in the air?
You know what would be
to do
good
that?
if it was a little bit smaller and it had wires in its arms so you could move it.
Yeah, that'd be great, right? So yeah, Jimmy Snooker's fourth. Don't like his pose. Yeah, that will be why I put him fourth then. And then third is the Iron Sheik.
I like the way like you don't mind him killing his girlfriend, but
That's
the pose is the problem.
when this isn't the trial of the murder of Nancy. You know, we're not.
But
That's
we
not,
will judge you.
Yeah, yeah. We'll say, as a matter of fact, he murdered his girlfriend. but that doesn't factor into the ranking of.
We still love you, baby.
I shouldn't laugh, but yeah. Anyway,
That's funny. It's in the past.
exactly. It's well old now, so fine. Iron Sheik is up next.
Oh, I love the Iron Sheik.
Yes. Again, like we talk about Andre being a big star, right? Iron Sheik is the only guy in this entire series who has been world champion at this point, apart from Hogan, who does have the championship with him.
Yeah, so that's your main guy to fight with Hogan, isn't it? Especially at this point with these five.
You know, I was saying to you earlier as well, like it's such a weird timeline in my head because I thought Iron Sheik, serious singles competitor, wore trunks.
Yeah.
Just trunks, right? And his boots, obviously. And here he is in his sort of long, I don't know if they're tights or shorts or
They're
both.
sort of just long shorts, aren't they? Go to like his knees.
So that's what he's wearing on this figure. And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like I thought, because it's so recent to him being world champion. And then I had a quick look around and I did see an image on Google of him holding the championship wearing those shorts. So he must have like switched it up every now and again. It's just in my head. There was a cut-off point, trunks to shorts.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Because WrestleMania 3, he had the shorts on. And I only remember seeing him in trunks beforehand.
So yeah, I'm sort of a bit biased towards this because I thought he should have been in trunks, but maybe he shouldn't have. But it's a great figure and he's a top star, right? You know.
Yeah.
And he's doing what at WrestleMania 1, he wins the tag titles with Volkov.
Yeah.
So he's
still prevalent.
Yeah, he might be done as a sort of main guy in the company, even though that was short, right?
Yeah, it's like 30-day reign as champion. So that's a quick switch. That's Bob Backlund's got the belt, but Bob Backlund was Vince Senior's choice of champion. Then Vince Jr., the Vince we know, the sex pest, he decided to have someone else, and it turned out to be Hulk Hogan. So he quickly put the belt on the Iron Sheik and gave it to Hogan. I think it was only like a month. Hogan had debuted a month before, or re-debuted with the company.
I was going to do it after, but I feel like this is a good point to mention that I think Bob Backlund should have been in this set.
Yeah, we'll do a proper rundown afterwards, but completely
Okay.
we'll do a thing of who should have been in. But Bob Backlund should have been in.
Yeah, because it's almost, you look back and it's crazy, the just sort of line in the sand, you're done, mate. off you go.
Yeah, but
After
he did
carrying the
stick around
company.
for a bit as well, though.
A little bit, yeah, but like he's not in that cartoon. He doesn't have an LJN made at any point. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like, yeah, it's a proper like, you're finished up.
they probably thought he was too old.
Yeah, he was 23 at this point. No,
I do
he was
remember seeing like years ago. So it was probably when I was about 16. So probably looking about year 2000 or thereabouts, maybe 99. Sky Sports had WWF classics on. So you'd see stuff from like the 80s, 70s and 80s. And it had like Bob Backlund. I can't remember if he might have been champion. And he was like sort of saying how he doesn't really do weights at the gym. He just has this ab roller that he works out with. And he's like, oh, keeps me really fit. Like just sort of saying like how he just does it in his hotel room, just this ab roller for 3 hours. And then you've got Hogan who comes next, like roided up to the max, just all about gym training. And it's like such a shift
yeah,
from
no.
just a fit man to a ginormous, larger than life man.
Yeah, and that fit man was properly thrown in the bin.
Yes. Just
Um,
scrunch him up, chuck him in the bin. See you later, real American boy.
yeah, so yeah, he'll get a brief mention later of figures that should have been in this line and this set, because he was still around. But sorry to sidetrack.
No, it was good. I think life's full of sidetracks, especially for Bob Backlund.
Yeah, and us
Yes,
idiots.
and constantly us when we chat. Yeah.
So Sheik's a solid one. I've got him third out of these five, and then second, this Big John stud toy, briefly mentioned earlier, is so much bigger than Andre. It's a nice, chunky, amazing toy. Bit of a squat again, as we say, but this is one I don't have it. We don't. We mentioned we don't have any of these. This is one I'd love to pick up, to be honest.
Yeah, he's a good one, Big John stud, isn't he? For years I wanted a Hasbro Big John stud, and they did the Mattel Retro, and that was nice. But,
And that's a solid toy.
yeah, bit too chunky.
Oh,
They stayed the chunky route.
no, they've based it on this, and that deserves respect.
Yeah, so around this time then, Big John Studd was with Bobby the Brain Heenan, and he was doing the $15,000 slam challenge.
Yes.
So he went against Andre at Mania 1, and he lost that. Do you remember him being in any other pay-per-views around then, though? Or big shows?
No, I can't say. He's got such a weird career trajectory, right?
Yeah.
Because like all of a sudden he pops up in like '89 and wins the Rumble,
Yeah, and then he's a special guest referee with Jake and Andre as well.
but he doesn't do anything after winning that Rumble, right? I know there was
He
no
might do
title
the special
shot.
referee after it.
No, I mean like directly after. It's not like he goes on to like. It's hard to piece together because there were such few events, but there was more in '89. Yeah, it's just a weird. Yeah, no, I don't recall much of John Studd. Oh wait, having said that, he definitely had a tag team with Bundy.
Yes. Yes, he did, because Paul Orndorff and Hogan went against Bundy and
Yeah,
Studd.
and they
It's probably
didn't
around
get.
the same sort of time there. It's probably the same sort of year, but he seemed to sort of disappear a bit.
That must have been approaching. Weren't they messing up Hogan? And wasn't that surely was approaching WrestleMania 2, right? That tag team.
So I think
It'd be
after
around. It'd be
WrestleMania
around
2.
then.
It'd be
right?
after WrestleMania 2,
Yeah.
because it was going from like the Bundy feud to Paul Orndorff feud for Hogan.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he was still around. I can't remember him being in WrestleMania 2. I watched it recently.
Is he? No, he's in the WrestleMania 2. He's in the Battle Royal. He
Battle
throws
Royal,
out
isn't it? Yeah,
Bridge,
yeah,
doesn't
that's
he?
right. He throws out Refrigerator Perry.
There we go. Got it.
There we go.
got it.
We back on track. We found him. We found
Yeah,
Big John Studd in our brains.
The search for Big John Studd.
Come on, you bastard.
Yeah, we're not calling this episode 1. We're calling it the search for Big John Studd.
Yeah.
Found him. Done. Right. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye. No, wait. We're still going.
Oh, where's Wally? Completed it, mate.
And the fifth and final, or the best one of the 5, is Hogan. That comes with the beautiful championship. Important to have a title on these toys, especially so early in the set. Oh no, we do see tag titles later on. We don't see an Intercontinental Championship in this line, I don't think.
Well, you could just buy 2 Hogans and then use
Well,
one of them.
Yeah, that's what you would. What do they hate about other titles, right? Why did Hasbro never release any other championships?
Yeah, it's strange, isn't it? It's like one, that'll do.
Yeah, and
I'm
obviously
not
the
doing 3 or 4.
tag titles came out of all the tag packs of these that we'll get to. But yeah, that solid set. Hogan's a must, right? He's the
Yeah, he's your main guy. He's got his own cartoon. He's part of the MTV fucking wrestling.
He's just
Massive part. He's WWF at this point, isn't he? And there's no
yeah, he's
two bones about it.
and the biggest star, arguably, still to this day, right?
Yeah, even like when I've been injured wrestling, I remember going to the hospital and trying to explain to someone that I do wrestling, and they said, "Sort of, which wrestling is it? Is it like MMA?" And I said, "No, it's like the one Hulk Hogan does." Even still now, like I don't feel like I can say it's the one John Cena does because I don't know if anyone knows who he is.
No, well, I think he's got some appeal, but it was different. Hogan was like, I would make the argument that Hogan's one of the most famous people of our generation and the few generations surrounding us, right? He's one of the most famous people ever.
Yeah, with like Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
right?
you'd be hard pressed to
Jesus
find
Christ is probably known by a lot of people,
maybe,
right? But there
but
aren't
generally,
many.
like as real people. I remember being younger, and it did seem like Michael Jackson, Hulk Hogan, and maybe like Bart Simpson or something like that. That's it. Real people,
Real
just moaning
people.
about
Yeah.
real people and us saying Bart Simpson. The irony is not lost on me. I am just a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah. Hogan's he's the man, right? He's the focus of everything going forward. He's got to be here. I've got to believe that there were much more Hogans made than anyone else as well.
You would have thought so, yeah. I mean, you can't. He's like the He-Man of the set, isn't he? You need a lot of Hogans.
Yeah, and it's a great toy. It's a great toy. Nice white headband, yellow trunks. Interesting. Sorry, we will jump all over the place. Interesting that they went with the yellow look here, and later on in the LJN line they go with white.
Yeah, if you watch stuff from around this point, he does wear white quite a lot. So he wasn't,
Yeah, but we're
later on he
talking.
became red and yellow, only red and yellow.
Yeah, but we're talking the white must have been released like '89. Or so. It's crazy that it was
Yeah.
that way round and we didn't get the white here.
Yeah, you could have understood it more because it wasn't so prevalent, the red and yellow at this point. But maybe they just went for the brighter looking ones. Could be something like sometimes he wore blue as well, didn't he? But it certainly got to a
Yes.
point where Hogan never ever wore any colours ever again other than white and black.
Yeah, I thought you were going
Which
to say.
fair play to him. He still does it now.
Does he not wear? He still wears his yellow and red occasionally.
Oh, all the time, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Oh, you said
always
white
wears
and
it.
black.
Oh yeah, when he did the NWO, he was white and
Yeah,
black
yeah.
for a few years. That's what I was alluding to.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah, so
that's another podcast there. Just
yes,
WCW figures.
or Hogan figures alone. Yeah, so that was 5, right? Released 1984. I'm certain of this, and then they've added to Series One.
Yeah,
Um,
let's stick on Hogan for a little bit
okay.
because around this time when he was a huge megastar and WrestleMania 1 came along, just before WrestleMania 1, he went on that talk show, didn't he?
Richard Belzer.
He
Forget
put the
what
guy in a front face
well,
lock
that's the guy. That's the name of the guy. I forget what the show was called, but yeah, he choked him out. He choked him unconscious,
and the guy fell on the floor, smacked his head. He had
busted it
blood.
open.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
busted his head open. That was shortly before WrestleMania. Could you imagine if that just derailed everything?
yeah. It's bullshit that he got away with that. And I only say that because do you know what happened on December 28th, 1984, Marty?
Was that the David Schultz slap?
That was my favorite moment in wrestling history ever.
See,
I,
that's not too much before either, is it? Like,
oh,
I guess because it was becoming mainstream, people were interviewing wrestlers and trying to push their buttons a little bit and see if it was fake.
oh yeah, no, this little shit deserved it as well. Go and watch it. It's well worth watching if you've never seen it. It's I've not seen much. I don't know if I've ever seen a match of it, but it's my favorite moment in wrestling
Yeah, I think
history.
Bret Hart speaks for him in his book as well because he was in Stampede and Bret was working with him there and
It's just
things.
like, go watch this interview. What's his name? John Stossel. And
Yeah,
it's just
there's
this.
a whole dark side of the ring about
Just
David Schultz.
just the smarmy demeanor of this guy. And David Schultz looks like an intimidating man, regardless of whether it's fake or not, right?
Yeah,
And this guy was small. And just like listen to like how he talks to him. And he's like, right, well, so I'll ask you the standard question. I think this is fake. So what? And then he just gets slapped to the floor for that, which I really like. And a beautiful bit of that video is Mr. Fuji,
just in
sort
the
of
background.
laughing. Yeah, just sort of he doesn't rush to intervene or help or anything, which is
No one's
great.
going to
And
help the guy.
no, it's just a beautiful moment, and it's like the type of moment you'll never see ever again. Like times have changed, certain things are totally unacceptable now. Plus, Like, imagine Jungle Boy Jack Perry slapping Dermot O'Leary. He'd be hospitalised by
Yeah,
Dermot
Dermot
O'Leary.
O'Leary would kill him.
Right?
And Dermot O'Leary is not a big man.
So it's just, yeah, it's not the land of the giants anymore of these like drugged up psychopaths.
Yeah, that's the thing. I
And
mean,
I miss it. I miss it.
Dr. D wasn't seen again in
Uh,
WWF, was he? Well, he's never in a big show.
yeah, he doesn't make it to a big show. I don't think he was fired immediately, but and there are reports that he wasn't even fired for this incident, although I don't know if he claims it or not, but there are reports that he was fired because he was going to go to the ring and beat up Mr. T at one point. And they had to stop him. And he's
I've
just,
not
yeah,
heard that. I think he
just
said
a,
he was in line for a feud with Hogan and stuff like that leading up to WrestleMania 1.
just a proper lad. Yeah,
Just a lad. Yeah.
yeah, give me, I think, trouble aside, we definitely would have had an LJN of him for sure. Whether it would have been Series 1 or not, I don't know. It's hard to remember because I think he did wrestle Hogan. He was brought into feud with him.
Yeah.
And he was a top star very quickly. I think Piper managed him.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Piper was brought in originally just as a mouthpiece and didn't wrestle much at all.
I wonder if that was just a straight switch then. They just switched Dr. D with Piper.
Maybe. I don't
Might
know.
have been the case.
Maybe. I don't know if the plans were that big for like, can't remember if it was like.
That's a fun bit. Anyway, it's similar to Vader's one, doesn't it? Like in 1997, Vader and The Undertaker were on a talk show. I don't know what country it was in.
Kuwait.
Kuwait was it? And then Vader, did he slap the guy or just grab him by the throat?
Grabs him by the tie, I think.
Right.
Lifts him up. And then, yeah, Vader spends.
Well, in
time
my
on-
story, he grabs him by the throat and starts slapping him around.
And which country is it in your story?
Don't care.
And was Bart Simpson there?
My favorite celebrity, Bart Simpson. Bart Simpson starts smacking this guy, and then like Bart Simpson comes out and says, "I didn't do it."
Fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, I can't get enough of David D. Doctor D. David Schultz.
Dr. David.
Dr. David, give me.
Dr. David Schultz.
Because obviously the major toy line now, the big rubber guys, they're doing sort of a homage to LJN. I would love a Dr. Death.
Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
With an open hand.
Yeah, right.
Ready
And
for
what's he
slapping
wearing? Like
action.
a white vest at the time, I think.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Yeah, no.
Nice wife beater.
Jungle-
So I did cut you off before. I apologize for that. Where are we going next then with what we think were the next section in this line that came out the
Well,
following year?
they're definitely Series 1, and they were definitely added later. And the hows or whys, I don't know. But yeah, added to Series 1. And again, because these are slightly separate, I've put these in order, but not an overall order, which may be confusing.
I see. In order for these four.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So this starts out with Junkyard Dog.
What was the worst?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
again, and I'm not a racist.
I don't know.
No, it's a solid 4, and I think you'll see as they get listed. It's a good toy. Comes with a chain, different coloured chains, depending on that's one of the sort of first arguments or variants, I suppose, because he came with different coloured chains on his dog.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah. So one was grey and one was red. Is that right?
And I think there might be a third.
Well, since we don't know, let's just say blue.
Yeah, but no, yeah, he's enjoying the perks of being in the biggest company at this point, right? Because he was a megastar in Midwest,
Mid-South.
Mid-South.
Mid-South, yeah. We don't know. We don't live in America. Can we anywhere? Let's just grow up. But yeah, he was jacked as well then. Like I remember seeing some footage and being really surprised because I had grown up watching this JYD.
Yeah, which is probably
not really in shape, but he's not in terrible shape.
He declines quite quickly.
Fast.
He's another one that I think he was just really enjoying himself.
Yeah. It was a different time, and I think there were probably lots of things to put in your body that were great.
I think they were household names and they could probably have whatever they wanted in any walk of life.
Good.
And they all enjoyed that for the most part.
Yeah, so he won the Wrestling Classic in 1985, and we watched that recently, and that was interesting.
The Wrestling Classic is a sort of unknown event, right? Because we hadn't seen it before.
No, we hadn't. Yeah.
To the best of our knowledge, the only event in 1985 was WrestleMania 1.
Yeah.
And then the Netflix, which has recently acquired WWE, has that event on it, and I assume the network did as well, but it would have been
Yeah, but
very
they had so much to choose from on the network. You couldn't really choose something that you hadn't seen before. So when this came out on Netflix, it was quite one that stood out because it was like, what the hell was that?
and it's beautiful and amazing and bonkers.
Yes. So it's a one night tournament, a 16-man tournament. And we love our one night tournaments,
Yeah,
but it's just wild in the sense like the booking's mad. JYD wrestles for about 3 minutes and gets to the final. The matches are really short. Most of them end with disqualification or count out. In between, they go to the brackets, and Vince McMahon's there with Lord Alfred Hayes and a lady. Don't know who she is, but Lord Alfred Hayes is just being a massive sex pest and sort of just touching her up and kissing her at points.
yeah, like refusing to stop kissing her, and yeah,
Yes,
it's one of the most awkward things I've seen in wrestling, and that counts anything Jerry Lawler said or done.
I guess if you watch it back now, like Jerry Lawler's is, you sort of listen to it and just go, "Oh, that's a bit cheesy."
Not to downplay anything, but Jerry Lawler was always talking about highly sexualized imagery, right?
Yeah,
So he was losing his mind when there were like
boobs
glorious
out.
oiled up boobs on
Yeah,
display, right? So that's understand. I'm gonna say that's
or
understandable.
just
But
any woman, but he wasn't doing it to them. He was just doing it to the lads listening.
yeah, and yeah, lads, and it was
Yeah, but
great, right?
this is strange. Like,
This
because
is just a woman helping with the tournament brackets.
yeah, we watched it separately, and I watched it, and I felt quite uncomfortable watching it, and I didn't know if I was just being a bit sort of soft. And
Yeah,
then I asked you if you had watched a wrestling classic, and you said yes. And your first thing was about Lord Alfred Hayes, and I was like, thank God for that. That
yeah,
it was a thing that was happening. Not thank God it was happening, but thank God you noticed it as well as me noticing it,
no,
and
and that's
hopefully
it.
other people.
And I will say, like, yeah, it just was. It's hard to put yourself back in that time period because it must have been fine. I think I said to you, like, the goal can't have been, it can't have been produced in a way that, like, let's have the viewers leave this thinking the old Bill need a word with that fella. Do you know what I mean? That can't have been the goal, right? The goal must have been, oh, what an absolute lad. What
Yeah.
a legend. Because it was an attractive blonde lady, but it's just, yeah, it was just crazy to see. And I will say, I don't think we're prudes. Like, we'll learn more about us as time goes on, right? But I worked in the adult industry for over like 10 years. And
And I
even
love
I was
boobs.
just like, this is weird to see. And maybe he was just playing a sort of Benny Hill type character, but it was very lecherous, let's say. Like, yeah,
Yes. And it
I,
kept getting worse, is the thing. Like
I
every time they went back to him, he was doing something else.
well, there was a point where he left his hand in a weird place, and if I could being completely honest, I thought if my hand was there, I'd be stroking her under boobs. That's what I assumed he was doing. That's what I assumed he was doing. Yeah, it just repeatedly through the show. It's just yeah, it's weird to like that to be your takeaway when it's such a crazy show. There's no turnbuckles on the
Yeah.
ring.
Yes, the ring's mad as well. Like it's bouncing all over the shop. It's making really loud noises, which is really strange for WWF. It's got no turnbuckles. The referees are wearing blue trousers and white shirts with like a red thing in the pocket. And all we took away from it is Lord Alfred Hayes.
Hey, but this is on Netflix now, right? So go watch it. It's great. All the matches are weird. Like the first one, Corporal Kirshner versus Adrian Adonis. I really
Yeah.
loved that. It was quick, but it was solid.
Yeah. And
Um,
Dynamite Kid's good as well. Dynamite Kid's good in it. Savage is really good in it.
well,
But it's just,
Volkov singing the Russian national anthem as you do, and obviously I don't know what he did that was evil as a character, right? Because I didn't see much of him, but I just know he was
well,
foreign,
it was foreign, mate.
and he used to want his national anthem respected,
Yeah.
and they were like, boo, which is quite funny, right, in a way. But after finishing his national anthem, Dynamite Kid just like missile dropped kicked him and pinned him, which is a
Yeah.
cool little ending. But then they just get weirder, don't they? Like Terry Funk's in the tournament. And I was like, this is exciting. We like Funk, right?
Yeah.
Great to see him. And then he tries to persuade Moondog
Ringo
Spot
spot.
to leave the. Let's not wrestle. Let's just both leave. So they get out the ring together. This is quick as well. They don't even start
It's
fighting,
17 seconds, this
right?
match.
And then he tries to attack him. Terry Funk tries to attack Moondog and get back in the ring, so he tries to win by count out, but somehow he ends up backdropping Moondog into the ring
Yeah.
just as it hits 10, and Terry loses. It's like, oh, that's a waste of Terry. But
That's a waste of a good Terry Funk. He does do a bit of a promo afterwards, doesn't he? He sort of shouts at Vince McMahon and
yeah,
stuff.
and this just doesn't stop. And I think I said to you as well, like it's not that any of these finishes were crazy. It was just crazy seeing them all together, one
Yeah,
after the other.
all in a space for about an hour and a half. You're just watching these
Yeah.
mental finishes. Because after the Moondog Spot one, JYD wrestles Moondog Spot. It lasts for, I think, about 30 seconds. There's no referee in the ring yet, so JYD just counts the three himself. And then the bell rings and the commentator's just like, oh, yeah, there's a judge at ringside who's okayed that.
Yeah.
It's like, where was the referee? Is he just having a cigarette or something? It's like, these look like, they're not WWF referees. They're just wearing like blue trousers and a white shirt. It's really, really strange.
Jesse Ventura's on commentary, and he's odd as well. Like,
Yes, there's a point where he just leaves and starts saying, I should go and tell the Macho Man about some tactics. And he just leaves for a bit, and it's like, what is going on? I don't get it. I don't get it. I really like it. It's chaos.
Glad it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I hope that lady was okay with everything and compensated well.
We find out who she is. We'll get her on the podcast and have a chat.
Yeah, and I think I also said to you, it was just weird. What you were seeing was weird and not okay anyway. But it would have made a bit more sense if it was like a young Rick Martel, or a bit more tolerable, right? If it was like an attractive wrestler,
yeah. The ravishing Rick Rude was doing, you'd think, fuck yeah.
Yeah, right. But it was the fact that it was like sort of dumpy, weird,
creepy old man
Alfred Hayes. Yeah, it's watch it for yourselves. Maybe you're like, he's doing nothing wrong. You're just a bunch of pussies. Or do you know what I mean? Who knows?
Yeah. So we find her, we'll get her on the pod and we'll ask her what she thought of series 2 of LJNs. Sure, that'll make her feel better.
Absolutely. Right. Where are we? Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, so we go. So Junkyard Dog is the bottom of the list of this most recent 4.
Yeah. And where would I put him?
Would you stick him between Snooker and Iron Sheik?
I don't think it's the best likeness from what I remember. So I'd probably stick him between Andre and Snooker.
Okay.
But again, out of these 9, only Andre is a bad toy, I think. The rest are great.
Yeah. I would agree. Andre was the one that offended my senses, whereas the rest, I just I want to have all of them.
Hillbilly Jim is next, but he's also, I've got no understanding of how big a star he was, because I feel like he wasn't a big star at all. I barely saw him wrestle ever.
Yeah.
But
so the first WrestleMania he's on is WrestleMania 3.
He's in that cartoon as well, right? He's in series 1 of this line, so he must have been
Who did he suck off to get here? Lord Alfred Hayes, probably.
It's a great looking toy. It's a good toy.
Yeah, this is a tricky one because he might get quite a big jump.
I'd probably keep him just below. I think if I was buying these, I would put him below Iron Sheik. I think so, above Snooker but below Sheik. But you feel free to disagree. Of course.
No, I don't really disagree at all. It's a tricky one because I don't think I'd want a Hillbilly Jim as a kid.
No.
Even as a kid, I knew who he was.
He was nowhere to be seen in that wrestling classic or anything, was he?
No.
Would he have been in the Battle Royal with the NFL players, maybe?
I don't remember him being in it.
Because Uncle Elmer was a friend of his or at his wedding or something, right? That was...
Probably his cousin, I don't know.
Right.
It's a strange one. Like, yeah. Maybe he was on weekly on like Tuesday Night Titans or something like that.
Then he became I remember him being on Primetime Wrestling, sat at the table as a sort of commentator.
Right.
I think he might still be employed now in like a really odd...
They just don't realise he's still there.
Oh, no, he wasn't. If he's not employed now, he was employed very recently as a sort of ambassador or something. I don't... He looks great as well for his age. Yeah,
Even then, he looked good. He had a good physique and stuff.
Yes, massive guy. Yeah. And great looking toy, as I say. Just, probably the least, in my mind, easily replace him with Bob Backlund, please. Or
when I was a kid, the first VHS I got was Survivor Series 88, and I watched that all the time. And he was in the main event on Hogan's team. But I never thought I wanted a Hillbilly Jim toy. Like, I know as Hasbro's, there was never a Hillbilly Jim Hasbro, but I didn't care. And even now, if you asked me which ones are missing, I wouldn't say Hillbilly Jim.
Yeah, no, you don't see him mentioned by the community, right? As like
Yeah.
when as toys they're longing for. Maybe some. Maybe we're missing out on a whole run he had that we're just not aware of. But yeah,
Yeah, we'll probably find it during the week and go, oh, he was a massive star, actually.
let's record this again.
Yeah. We'll
uh,
start over. We'll put Hillbilly Jim as number 2.
yeah, and then I've got Piper, who is the villain to Hogan, the big star here.
Yes, yeah.
And it's an excellent figure.
It's really good. It's got a removable kilt, hasn't it?
Yeah,
That's really nice.
yeah, it's an odd attire choice that I don't, because it's all red. It's red trunks, red knee pads, red boots that I'm not familiar with him wearing, but very plausible he did.
I don't recall him ever wearing all red. That's just me. Maybe he did at some point. I mean, it'd be like saying, why have they released a Hogan in white? But we just had a discussion then how this one could easily have been in white.
But yeah, no, he's number 2 in this set,
Yeah,
right?
Pipe's a huge star. He kicked Cyndi Lauper in the head.
Right.
So he
That's
was a
it.
massive, he was the main villain. He was a massive part of the rock and wrestling. He was in the cartoon Hogan's Rock and Wrestling,
He wrestled
main
on
event
that,
WrestleMania 1.
and that wrestling classic. He fought Hogan for the championship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, he's a big deal. He's well worthy of being a great figure as well. Either side of John Studd, I wouldn't mind, but yeah, I can't work out who I prefer out of those two in terms of the figures. I think I prefer Studd. I think I
Oh,
put.
of course you do.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of that Studd.
If you're a kid at this point in time and you got offered a Big John Studd or a Rowdy Roddy Piper to fight your Hulk Hogan, the only reason you would choose Big John Studd is if you want it to be a clean finish.
Yeah, but also Piper's in his shirt, right? He's in entrance gear, and that would bother me as a child, I reckon. So Stud's ready for action. That Stud's going to destroy Hogan. Piper's on his
Studd's
way
ready
to
for
the
action. Well,
ring.
Piper could take off his kilt. He can
Yeah,
also
but
come
then
down.
he's wrestling in a t-shirt. Who is he? Tommy Dreamer. I like that Stud toy, and yeah, he's just such a size. That's the guy. That's the monster who's going to damage Hogan in this Fed, mate. And
So
then
that leaves one.
yes, and this is interesting as well because I've seen. So I the reason I know those first 5 came first is because I've seen a back of a card with 1984 on it and just those 5. And when these are added, these extra ones, the card features 8 figures and no Nikolai Volkov, who is the final one. And I think it's an excellent toy, so that's why he's in the position he's in. But yeah, it's odd that he's not on the card at all, but he's definitely part of Series 1.
Yeah, that's strange, isn't it? He's got a removable hat, hasn't he, as well?
Oh, it's
And so does Hillbilly Jim, actually. We forgot to mention the hat. That's quite good. Yeah, bump him up. Except if he lost the hat, then he's got no hat.
No,
Same with
right.
Volkov.
He's also wearing a shirt that's molded on, though, right? So I just complained about Piper wearing a shirt. But no, I've said Piper's a good figure. I just couldn't put him above John Studd, but I might put Volkov above that. I don't
Because
know.
you've seen Volkov wrestle a Dynamite Kid and he didn't take his shirt off. historically
It's
accurate.
with these eyes, with these modern day eyes, it's a good figure. Would I have enjoyed it at the time? I don't know. I don't know if I would have liked the gimmick at all. I probably would have hated him singing his national anthem and doing very
But that's the
little.
point of it, right? Then you'd want him so you can have your Hogan beat him up.
Well, I always loved his spinning kick to the midsection.
Yes.
Solid move.
It's
Solid.
certainly something, and it's definitely his.
It's beautiful. I want to see that stolen by someone in AEW or something. But yeah, no, a great figure. I think him and Sheik are nice. Probably yes, it's the only proper tag team here, right?
Yeah, and that's a good thing as well. Like you want to have tag teams as well as singles, so you could also team Hogan up with Andre to fight your Sheik and Volkov, things like that, or Hogan and Hillbilly Jim.
I'm sure it's not the case, but then does anything go into the decisions of like WrestleMania 1 where they put the titles on them? Is it like, well, we've got toys of them, let's get the titles on them? Were these?
Surely it'd be the other way around if it was anything. Surely the
Yeah,
toy companies would be looking at it going, they've got the tag titles. We need to get the
yeah, for sure. It's just no, unlikely. But yeah, no, great figures, great set. Volkov, I think Hogan's the best of the set.
Yeah, so other than Hillbilly Jim, then they are all in WrestleMania 1, aren't they?
Yeah, Hillbilly's not even in. Does he? I don't think he corners anyone or either.
No, I don't think he's in it at all.
Because Andre fights Stud in that body slam challenge.
Yeah.
Iron Sheik and Volkov win the tag titles, as we just said.
Yeah.
Junkyard Dog fights Greg Valentine, I'm pretty sure, and beats
Yeah.
him. And then the other 3, Piper, Hogan, and Snooker, are in the main event.
Yeah. So if we have a look at the ones then that we think could have had a place in this lineup, or even should have had a place, bearing in mind where they would have been at this point in time. So the women, Fabulous Moolah and Wendy Richter, were quite pushed, should we say, at this point with the rock and wrestling and things. Wendy Richter had Cyndi Lauper in the corner. She went against Moolah and beat her for the championship.
Lauper wasn't with Richter for just one show either. No. I didn't realize. I thought it was just a WrestleMania deal, but it appears like that relationship lasted a couple of years and a few events.
I don't know if it's a couple of years, but it's certainly, we know at the very least it's from like mid 84 till WrestleMania, which is in 85.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, it was more than just WrestleMania, right?
Yeah. So it was during 2 years. Yeah. But maybe only 8-9 months or something. But good anyway. I mean, they were featured heavily.
Yeah. And
on that show they did in 1984, what did we say it was called? It had a funny name, didn't it?
The Brawl to End It All.
Yes, the Brawl to End It All. So that was the sort of main event that was put on MTV. So that's a big deal. Right.
And she is part of that rock and wrestling cartoon.
Yes, Hogan's Rock and Wrestling. She's on that as well. Moolah is as well. They both are.
So it's almost like, to me, she's a glaring omission, right? But it's got to be the sensibilities of the period and them believing that these are boys' toys and no one's going to play with a girl. Girls are icky.
Yeah, boys won't buy girls' toys and girls won't buy them because they're not Barbie dolls.
That's got to be it, right? That's got to be the logic.
I reckon it has to be, yeah. There's no other reasons. They did do Miss Elizabeth, but that's just a manager, isn't it?
Eventually,
it's a bit like, if you look at the He-Man line, they did Teela, who was He-Man's friend, but when they did She-Ra, that was a completely different set of toys, and it was like Barbie. So it's a different time with like the whole boys' toys and girls' toys. Like when I see people saying that sort of thing nowadays, it really winds me up. Like play of anything.
Yeah, I suppose if she was in this lineup, we probably wouldn't be talking about her like she was the least worthy at all, because she was very worthy.
But yeah, we'd just be saying they're the worst because we don't want to play with them.
No, well, there's the very real
girls' toys.
There's a very real possibility that she would be the one you would least like to buy, right, as a child.
Yeah, I think so. Like,
especially if it was her on her own,
but deserving nonetheless, I guess.
Yes, definitely.
So they're two glaring ones. We mentioned before Bob Backlund as well.
Yeah, and that's just more
a wild. He was just quickly thrown in the bin.
Yeah, he was.
When they brought him back, so they brought him back in 1992, and they kept saying how old he was. How old would he have been? Like 43 or something. So like the 43-year-old Bob Backlund. I can't believe he's doing this. And you see it now, like with AJ Styles. He was an absolute machine, and he's probably about 45 or something like that.
Well, Punk's older than 43, isn't he now? Shame.
Yeah, he must be, man. Like, I mean, people are built differently in that stuff, but still, they definitely made it sound like that's the oldest human being who's ever lived, and he's fighting.
And obviously, he went back, so there wasn't the same sort of, people like Bruno Sammartino and Bret Hart had big issues with Vince McMahon, right?
Well, I guess his career continued. Maybe it was his choice to leave. Like, maybe he completely understood they're going a different direction. I think he went to AWA and NWA after this.
Okay, so he saw the writing on the wall and maybe left, possibly. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it happens, doesn't it? People move on. Maybe it's just explained to him in a normal way they were going in this direction. We think you're a bland prick.
I suppose it's just us with our brains now seeing the length of his title reign, right?
Yeah, so it was about 6 years.
Yeah, so on paper, it's just like, how's this guy just being sort of brushed under the carpet? Yeah, right?
Thanks for coming. When you think Superstar Billy Graham had the championship for a year and he lost it and he completely went off the rails because he couldn't handle it.
And that didn't even lead to us getting a Karate Man, Billy Graham.
I imagine having a Karate Man, LJN. Like,
was that a period that he really looks back on, like, and he hates it? Because I would love a figure. Mattel could give us one, right? An Elite or something.
Yeah.
Of him in his karate get-up with a
I think personally it was quite a bleak time for him. Yeah, I remember seeing that on the Wrestling Classics that I was talking about earlier on Sky Sports, and it had Superstar Billy Graham and his black karate get up. And then, so that's 3. If we look at the one more that could have, and I think was going to have a figure, would be Sergeant Slaughter. So in 1984, he's having a big feud with the Iron Sheik, and they were selling out venues and things.
Some great matches as well.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that Matt Cardona had at one point, or still has, the prototype of an LJN Sergeant Slaughter.
Okay.
So they were going to make one. So when you said earlier that Nikolai Volkov wasn't on the back of the box, maybe he took Slaughter's place, or the reason Hillbilly Jim's randomly there is because he took Sergeant Slaughter's spot.
Because you just before we went live, you pointed out to me, because I was aware there was some sort of LJN of Slaughter, and you pointed out to me that it was a Hasbro release done in this style,
Yeah.
and that blew my mind.
So it was a mail-away Hasbro release. So Sergeant Slaughter stopped working for WWF and worked for Hasbro.
He wanted to be a part of G.I. Joe, right?
He wanted to be part of G.I. Joe, yeah. But it's a really strange thing. Like, that's a completely different switch in careers, isn't it? So it's not even like he was doing another wrestling thing. He went to work for Hasbro. He had a toy made of him. He was in the cartoons, possibly, I think. That did some live action things and just was the real G.I. Joe.
It's very similar. So I suppose Vince would have said, "You're not doing that. And if you are doing that, you're fired." And he did the same to Mandy Rose a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah.
Slightly different. She wasn't a G.I. Joe. She was showing her anus and stuff online, which I like G.I. Joes, but prefer Mandy Rose's career choice, I suppose.
It's hers proper nudes.
I don't know if you'll find proper nudes, but you could definitely see naughty bits. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because she left WWE and made like $1 million in a month, and
I think it was a week. It was
maybe
insane.
She made the right choice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, 100%.
yeah. Other girls dropping me on my head or just showing my bum. Like it's easy choice to make. But yeah, that's very similar to what happened here with Sergeant Slaughter, right?
I'm not judging her for that. I more judge the people who think they need to pay for that sort of material when it's definitely not necessarily Mandy Rose's, but you can definitely see free porn.
But so I suppose you're just a fan of Mandy Rose, and you're like, wow, okay, £3. I don't know. I've got no idea how much it costs.
I suppose. I mean, I'm a fan of Sergeant Slaughter.
That's it. And I own a couple of his G.I. Joes. It's a very similar transaction.
Yes, that's exactly what I was saying.
Yeah. There you go. So
looking at an old man's ball sack or something.
So this would have been one of the first instances of that sort of ultimatum, right?
Hogan had one before, didn't he? With Vince Senior, with doing the Rocky
movie. The Rocky. Okay.
Yeah, that's why he left and did the Rocky movie. Went to AWA.
It's so hard because obviously Hogan says so much stuff. No, that's likely true based on.
I think
how
that is
went.
a true story. Yeah, because it's not just Hogan that said that one.
No, he wasn't going to be the bassist of Metallica, though. I'm pretty sure that's
no,
not a thing.
I will not listen to a single thing that comes out of a man's mouth. I don't think anymore.
We should do an episode all about the stuff he said. I know other people have done it, but it's very interesting. Like him, just
even if it's just us not talking really about anything, just quoting,
just reading out.
Yeah, just reading out his interviews and the stupid claims he's had.
Explaining how he's wrestled like some years 500 days a year because he would travel like to Japan and he would gain an extra day. Not realizing that you'd lose it coming back, but doesn't matter. What does it matter, right? What are facts?
What is time? What is any of this?
So no, Slaughter's a really interesting one. And obviously I keep on referencing the Big Rubber Guys, which I do sell Magnum TA and Hacksaw Jim Duggan in my store. But I keep on referencing them because obviously they've sort of picked up where these finished.
Yeah.
And they have done a Sergeant Slaughter based on, I'm pretty sure that's based on the prototype that was going to be the LJN. So the one that Hasbro released is not what LJN we're going to do, but the one that Big Rubber Guys have released is.
Okay, that's quite good.
It's got its sort of hand up. So it was criticised,
right?
But it is just based on the old mould.
So the other thing, when did the ring come out? The ring in the cage. Do we think that was 85 as well?
They were just so clever. They was,
was the cage around WrestleMania 2?
Yeah, because on the box it's Hogan and Bundy.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it?
The ring definitely came out first, and it's hard to pinpoint. 85, I think. So you reckon these first 5 rushed for Christmas, and I reckon the ring came with Junkyard Dog, Hillbilly Jim, Piper, and Volkov.
Yeah, it makes sense. My thing about Christmas is just a guess as well, but it seems like if you're going to release some sooner, it's because of that, surely.
It's a big deal, right? Toys on shelves, no internet, no online shopping. The biggest toy at Christmas was a huge thing, right? And they would have been fighting. Vince would have been very interested in that. I reckon you're on the money there. So the ring first is the only one to include here, and I think the cage comes with the next series. I really do.
Yeah, 'cause the ring's an interesting one as well. Because last year I picked up a Bone Crunchers ring, and it's the same as the LJN one. I'm sure I looked into it at the time, but I can't remember what the story was of why they were the same.
We don't know the ins and outs, but you mentioned this to me, and I was shocked. It doesn't explain it, but is it Jack Friedman? Is that what we decided? Is that the founder of LJN? Parted ways with the company, and he was the founder of Jack's Pacific, who made the BCAs, the WWF BCAs. So
I mean, it'd be very convenient if out the door he just took a ring with him and then just copied that.
Yeah, that doesn't explain why it's the same, though, right? But different times, maybe IPs were different things back then. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
toy companies did used to flat out just copy other people's toys as well.
Yeah, maybe
I think it used to happen with the old GI Joes, like the big ones. Another toy company copied it, so then the original GI Joes put the thumbnail on the wrong side of the thumb. So then when the other toy company copied it, they saw that they copied it.
Yeah, it's just a different time, right? So we're both fans of that Toys That Made Us show that we mentioned earlier. And even on that, like when the G.I. Joe episode is tremendous as well. That's well worth watching because it got me into G.I. Joes. The makers of that are just explaining. One guy's like, I was watching a Wild West movie, or I was watching a movie the night before, war movie, I presume, not a cowboy one. And it was just a character called G.I. Joe, and I thought, oh, that'll be a great name for a toy line. So they just did it, right? And that's bonkers now.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah,
different times, isn't it? But I guess like when you live in a world where not everyone's hearing the same things or watching the same things, you can get away with anything, really.
Like, what are you going to do? There's probably no phones to pick them up, and like, how do you complain, right?
Imagine like the internet being around when the LGNs were released and everyone kicks off because they fucking released Hillbilly Jim.
He's got to have been tagging with Hogan all over the US or something.
There's got to be something, yeah.
Right?
Something we're unaware of. He seems so out of place to me. Like,
keep talking. It's the website Cage Match, yeah. Hillbilly Jim.
What do they have? They have like house show results.
They have. You can pick a wrestler and they'll have their entire career matches.
Oh, that's quite good.
It's
really,
like an incredible database. I don't know if it's actually everything, but yeah, it's very thorough.
If you can add to it, just start sticking Hillbilly Jim in 1985 so we can sort this out.
Here he is, 85. Oh, he does a load of wrestling in the WWF.
Oh, that's quite good.
Tag him with Andre and Captain Lou. Best 2 out of 3 falls. The Hillbillies, Cousin Junior, Hillbilly Jim, and Uncle Elmer defeat Johnny V and the Dream Team.
Okay.
The Hillbilly do a lot of winning. Andre the Giant so he tags with Andre a lot.
So if he's tagging with Andre, he's pretty main eventing shows.
These are it does specify whether they're house shows or TV shows, and he's winning on TV. So yeah, maybe it's just something we're not aware of, right?
Yeah. Do you know who else won on TV all the time? The Bushwhackers.
Oh, I love them.
The Bushwhackers very seldom lost.
They're such a weird one. They're in my mind because obviously they were the sheep herders and they would have these bloody brawls and stuff, right? Yeah. In Calgary, presumably, and all over the world, right? You know, Vince doesn't seem the most charitable bloke, but that almost felt like, here's these fucking guys that have bled and sacrificed. Let's just pay them. Let's get them paid.
Give them an easy time.
They can lick babies' faces and just have a laugh.
Be a lad.
Yeah, be a lad. Hang out with Alfred Hayes.
Yeah, they're good. It took me a while to realise they never lost. I always sort of grew up thinking of them not as jobbers, but as people that lost all the time. I remember going to SummerSlam 92 and hoping the Bushwhackers would lick my head.
When you're a child, you know nothing, right? So you've got no idea that they've got a past, right?
Yeah. So that's it. That's all you see is just
in your head. These wacky old men
with carvings on their head.
Bonkers wacky old, and then like as an adult, you're like, oh wow, they were like serious like deathmatch wrestlers.
They must have been having such a good time.
Yeah.
Imagine making the most money you've ever made in your life and doing the least amount of work.
Fantastic.
That's what I want.
Why are we talking about the Bushwhackers? Oh, winning on TV all the time. Hillbilly Jim was, he looks like he was defeating Big John Studd by DQ. Andre the Giant, Hillbilly Jim. Hillbilly Jim beats double DQ of King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Fair enough.
There is strange then that he's doing all that and they're not really putting him on the big shows. Because obviously he's in WrestleMania 3 with King Kong Bundy and the Midgets. And I loved that match. When I was a kid, my friend brought it around and I didn't really care about Hogan and Andre too much. I didn't even notice Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat, but I did notice Hillbilly Jim, King Kong Bundy, and a 6-man tag with the midgets. I was watching it earlier today, like just before this, and like the midget does deserve it. He keeps hitting King Kong Bundy, so naturally King Kong Bundy slams him and gives him a massive elbow drop.
Yeah, we'll talk more about King Kong Bundy in the next one, right? Because he's in series 2.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what we'll be doing next time. We're looking at season 2 of the LJNs. So the whole premise of this is to go through all the toy lines, series by series, having a look at the toys, what they released, judging them, and seeing what the actual wrestlers were doing at the time, and seeing if they're worthy of the toys, I guess. So maybe by the time we've looked at all of the LJNs, I'll know which one I want to try and buy.
That's it. Maybe we pick one. So out of this whole set, right, this 9, let's finish on you're in Woolworths, right?
Okay.
And your mum's like, "Oh, hurry up, Martin. Darren's pooped his pants. We need to go. Pick a bloody toy and let's get out of here." Which one are you taking?
It would be Hogan, wouldn't it? I don't think there's... As a child, I think that's just the one I would go to.
Yeah, I know you're right. It's not even a choice, right?
As a grown-up now, if I had a choice, I'd probably go for the Iron Sheik, just because I really like the Iron Sheik.
No, Hogan with the championship, you're right. That is the answer.
But as an adult who's realistically going to have to go on eBay and try and find one, it's probably going to be like a junkyard dog with his hand bitten off, because that's the only one that costs £6 or something like that.
Out of this, I've loved Studs so much. I would probably, as an adult, I'll probably try and track him down. We should.
It'd be quite good at the end of it if we do buy them and then realize that we really don't like them and they suck.
Rubbish.
We just spent probably like 7 or 8 weeks talking about them.
No, they look great, especially carded. They look amazing.
Yeah, well, card is out of the question, though, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, no, a decent card is.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's call it a day.
And, if anyone's listening, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for still listening.
And also, thank you to Callum Graham for our entrance music. The Callum Graham, the one
on Instagram. Yeah, he's just released some music. It's very different to the intro music here.
Yes.
He just happens to be the best at all the genres of music.
That's Find him on Spotify. Callum Graham. Existential Dread is his latest album.
It's got a nice bonus track called Mini Golf.
There we go. It's so much smaller than regular golf, as they say.
He'll be so disappointed that that's my favourite.
I'm not though, mate. Right, until next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye, everybody.
7 figures a month. We're bringing home the bread. 7 figures a month. To keep our families fed. 7 figures a month. With any cash we have left after a toy hunt. Stocking up the cellar like a massive car. Podcaster.